Shalom. This week's Sedra Bereshis, whole new beginning. There's a well-known joke about a prospective groom who studies Torah full-time and is asked how he plans on supporting his new family after his wedding. The groom answered, "God will provide." Overhearing his future son-in-law's response, the bride's father turned to his friend and cynically said, "I never knew my daughter's fiance thought I was God." The joke is somewhat humorous, but also speaks to a world very different than the one our Torah scholars envisioned many years ago. Our early Torah scholars preached fiscal responsibility just as much as they did relying on Hashem to ensure their livelihood. Rambam wrote that a Torah scholar manages his financial affairs judiciously. He eats, drinks, and provides for his household in accordance with his funds and degrees of success without overtaxing himself. When addressing a groom who is preparing to take on the responsibilities of a family, he wrote, "The way of sensible men is that first one should establish an occupation by which he can support himself. Then he should purchase a house to live in, and then marry a wife." Rambam understood what financial responsibility demands from the verses that discuss those exempt from military service, where it lists a person who planted a vineyard, his livelihood, has built a house, and only then does it say a man who has betrothed a woman. Rambam was highly critical of those who did things differently. In contrast, he wrote, "A fool begins by marrying a wife. Then, if he can find the means, he purchases a house. Finally, towards the end of his life, he will search for a trade or support himself from charity." It is rare to find serious Torah students today who follow the Rambam's words. All too often, people get married, and only when the financial burden becomes too burdening do they leave the Beit Midrash and pursue a career. They justify this financially irresponsible approach by assuming that since they are studying Torah all day long, God will provide his family's needs. In full disclosure, as a young groom, I too acted irresponsibly, committing to study Torah all day without the means to purchase a home or establishing a career that would provide the means to support my family. I was not only irresponsible, but acting negligently in relation to my obligations as a husband and father. The topic of financial responsibility can be seen from this week's Torah portion. After having been divinely cursed, Cain impregnated his wife, and they had a son named Chanoch. As God told the story, Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Chanoch, and he then founded a city and named the city after his son Chanoch. The Ramban and Radak wrote two interesting comments on Cain building a city and naming it after his son. Ramban wrote that at first Cain thought that he would be childless on account of his sin, but after a child was born to him, he began to build a city for his son to dwell in. Similarly, Radak wrote that at the time when a son was born for him, he was engaged in building a town to serve as residence for himself and his children in subsequent generations. This is why he named the town, the Radak said, the same as he named his son, Chanoch. Building a city, a home, or residences for others is an elemental part of the human experience. Unlike animals, humans aren't meant to roam the earth. Humans are meant to settle, establish themselves on the earth, and develop societies dedicated to improving themselves. It is for this reason that God commanded the Jewish people to not only live in Eretz Yisrael, but to settle the land as well. Without building on the land, the Jewish people will never be able to actualize their potential of developing societies so that the world can look to as examples. It's a powerful message from this week's Torah portion. Shabbat Shalom.